Hi, I'm Rev Myron. I'm a minister through Pathways of Light, and I've been a Course in Miracles student for 44 years. I'm going through the lessons again this year, asking Jesus to clarify for me, and then I write from those lessons, from that writing. And that's what I'm sharing with you today. So let's get started. We're looking at lesson 53. I needed these lessons today, these review lessons, as I was upset with my little private world and having trouble letting it go. I started out wondering how I was going to contemplate these lessons when I couldn't take my mind off this grievance that I had. Then I began to read the lesson and was amazed to realize it was tailor-made for my particular problem today. So I used this review lesson to help me move out of my insanity. So paragraph 1, or lesson 1, or rather lesson 11. My meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. Yesterday, we ended with a review lesson 10, which tells us that our thoughts don't mean anything. Today, lesson 11 follows logically to the fact that meaningless thoughts produce a meaningless world. When we give our attention and our beliefs to the insane ego mind, we experience an insane world. I have no trouble accepting this. The world is a projection of our insane thoughts, and so, of course, it can only project an insane world. So here's my reasoning. We think we're bodies living outside of God when all along we are thought in the mind of God. A Course in Miracles tells us God created his son by extending his thought and retaining the extensions of his thought in his mind. Chapter 6, Section 2, Paragraph 8. And when God gave himself to you in your creation, he established you as hosts to him forever. And that came from text chapter 15, section 3, paragraph 5. We're not living this life, we're dreaming it. In chapter 28, we're assured that this is true and then reassured that we're safe from our dreams. He tells us in chapter 28, section 2, paragraph 7, the miracle establishes you dream a dream and that its content is not true. We think we're separate beings with separate goals and separate interests, as he tells us in the Manual for Teachers. And in these dreams, the mind is separate, different from other minds, with different interests of its own, and able to gratify its needs at the expense of others. But in chapter 8, we are reassured that whom God has joined cannot be separated, and God has joined all his sons with himself. There's so much proof that the world we made with our insane thoughts is truly a reflection of those thoughts. I was thinking of North Korea threatening South Korea with a nuclear weapon, as if bombing them, they would not suffer the same fate. And this is no different than the man driven mad by his thoughts who defends himself by killing his neighbor. Did he think he would not suffer for this? This is how the split mind works, defending itself by attacking what it believes is outside. Reality, however, is not insane, so we have a choice. We can continue to produce more insanity as we choose to live from our split mind, or we can learn to live from our holy mind and choose peace and love instead, as Jesus tells us in this lesson. I can therefore see a real world if I look to my real thoughts as my guide for seeing. I choose wisely more often than not, and when I slip momentarily into the dream, I shake myself awake and choose again. Or like today, I let Jesus convince me that I can let this dream be a dream instead of believing it is reality. So paragraph 2, lesson 12. I am upset because I see a meaningless world. I'm not upset over politics, even though I can think I am when I'm thinking insanely. I'm not upset because I think I need more money or more friends. No matter what I think is a cause of my upset, it's really that I see a meaningless world. When my children are fearful or sick, I might become upset, but my children are part of God, as am I. So why would I be afraid for them? If I feel upset, I know that I have fallen again into a meaningless story. I can extricate myself by recognizing what I have done and bringing my misconception to the Holy Spirit so He can correct it. It's as simple as changing my mind by choosing to view the situation from my sane mind. Paragraph 3, Lesson 13, a meaningless world engenders fear. Believing in the insane world is frightening. Even when things are going smoothly in a way that pleases us, we cannot let our guard down. We can't trust the peace. We know how quickly it can shift again into something upsetting to us. That is how it is with insanity. So how do we get out of this insanity? We acknowledge that we are having a real experience, but it is not reality. Only what God creates is real, and God could not have created the world we believe in. So this is not real. Nothing here is real. The self I think I am here is not the self God created. When I start believing something here, I remind myself of this. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God in the introduction. If the body appears sick, that reminds me it belongs to the dream. The self God created is untouched. Remembering that brings peace, and from peace I can ask for guidance. Now I can ask the Holy Spirit to guide me in caring for it. Because as it says in the Song of Prayer, you've been told to ask the Holy Spirit for the answer to any specific problem, and that you will receive a specific answer if such is your need. You've also been told that there's only one problem and one answer. In prayer, this is not contradictory. There are decisions to make here, and they must be made whether they be illusions or not. So I asked the Holy Spirit what to do about this sick body. I let Him make all decisions for me. Sometimes He's told me to take my mind off of it, so that is what I do. And after a while, I realized that the problem took care of itself. One time He told me to use Lesson 190, which tells us that pain is not real. I did that for several months. At one point, I was frustrated and asked Him what this was if it wasn't pain. He told me it was my belief in pain. So I just continued the practice until I convinced myself to withdraw my belief in the painful physical problem I had. That was a significant step toward giving up my belief in the world. I can live in fear, I can recognize the source of the fear, and let my belief in the world go. Another time when I'd been in extreme pain for hours and asked Jesus what to do, He told me to go to the emergency room. I did and had emergency surgery. Paragraph 4. God did not create a meaningless world. What a wonderfully encouraging and reassuring paragraph. Only what is in the mind of God exists, and what is in the mind of God is in my mind as well. I don't need to keep suffering. I can choose to believe only in what is real and thus really exists. Yes, I continue to experience the illusion, but what a different experience it is when I don't believe in its reality. This sentence is a powerful reminder. Let me remember the power of my decision and recognize where I really abide. Paragraph 5, Lesson 15. My thoughts are images I have made. One of my favorite ones, by the way. Everything begins with a thought. The thought is then projected outward and made manifest in the illusion. I can assess my thoughts easily by simply noticing my world. As one, we are experiencing many chaotic and separating thoughts right now. I don't want to add to that chaos, so I watch my thoughts and feelings to become aware of my misperceptions immediately. I then ask the Holy Spirit for correction. I want to add only love and light to the sonship. Our minds are connected, so my effort spreads across the mind we all share. And each of us is a little more peaceful. You're welcome. The images I have made cannot prevail against him because it's not my will that they do so. My will is his, and I will place no other gods before him. Before I began this lesson, I was in distress and had been since the evening before. I woke up asking for release. I wanted to return to the peace I've come to expect, but my mind kept returning to what I thought of as a betrayal by someone I love. I knew this belief was the problem and that I could see this differently, but I was caught in an ego cycle of attack and defense. Still, I was determined to get out of this trap, and so I decided to do the lesson and trust that I would be helped. My trust was not misplaced. I'm at peace now and grateful this is so. I haven't talked myself into peace or found a way to solve the problem I believed I had. Nothing changed about the situation. I just didn't care anymore. It has no meaning for me since it is part of the illusion, so it has no power over me. There simply isn't a problem now. Peace came not because I solved the illusion, but because I stopped insisting it meant something. Thank you so much for joining me in this reading. I hope that you found it helpful. If you did, then please like it. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. I also did a recording with a friend, Reverend um, Sabrina Rollins, and we're talking about being in the world while waking up. And so you might find that one interesting. It'll be showing up pretty soon. It's not there quite yet, but it'll be there very soon. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. Okay, I will see you again soon.